Hey guys, before we meet, I wanted to give you some feedback on this email. And I'm going to address you as if we're close friends, so I shall provide no filtering in my feedback. There's no fucking way you can send this. This is insane. You're not going to send a CMO 100 paragraphs about your tool. They don't care. You need to come to them with insights. And to do that, you need to figure out, you need to qualify people that are already spending. So, like, I'm just using like the Wappalizer thing, right? So, and I don't know much about this type of thing, but they're using Google Tag Manager. So, and LinkedIn, it looks like they don't have Facebook. I look at toptal.com and see what paid sources they're using. So they're doing a little bit of paid search. So 2% of their web traffic. Let's see if it tells me. Yeah, okay. Most of these are LinkedIn ads. So I'm looking here. It looks like they do have a LinkedIn pixel, LinkedIn Insights tag. So they're probably doing something right? If 50% of their traffic's coming from LinkedIn and they have a LinkedIn tag, maybe you have some unique insight about that you might want to ask about, that the combination of those two things is interesting to you that you could send a note about. Also, you have to figure out, like, okay, well, what advertising platforms are doing stuff wrong and how do you know? Manual pipelines, your data entry. So, like, let's do manual. Did I spell that right? Job title, marketing, revenue, or operations. So I'm just looking at my jobs data to see if I can find who people are talking about, like, manual billing, right? Like manual, like this is probably actually demand, maybe a better keyword here. Demand or revenue operations. Well, let's just see what happens. Involving manual and automated testing. So this is a demand planner. That's not a good role. Let's go back to marketing. But I guess, well, okay, fine. We'll just do this a little bit better. Marketing. Revenue operations. Demand generation. Actually, here, let's just do this. I'm looking to find marketing and revenue jobs that have challenges figuring out attribution across various channels. Can you help me? Well, it's because I use shift. I use caps lock instead of shift, so it's like my keyboard's like always on caps. So this is just going to search my database of jobs posted in the last 90 days. I think we've got several million. It's going to give me the top 25 that talk about these problems. This is another way to identify intent. And really what we're trying to do is to figure out who has these problems. But this message is all about you, right? Like, oh, do you want to hear all my speeds and feeds? It's much better to write a message about them. Don't say dear. Let's do this. You came up from a background. This is actually an insight that I learned recently. And generally CMOs that didn't come up via demand gen background have a harder time figuring out how to run, how to match closed won revenue with top of funnel ads. Since you're also running ads on 5 platforms, and about percent of traffic is coming from these ads, you're likely spending between X and Y a month. And then, isn't it painful to know if that's being flushed or you're now flush with cash because of it? Don't you want to know? Okay, so basically, if you can identify technologies that they're using on their website, the types of paid that they're spending on, the relative amount that they are spending for paid based on CPM. So if 47% of their traffic is coming from LinkedIn and 1.9% is paid search, or like, let's see, I don't know if that's display ads here. You can calculate based on the total amount of visitors and average CPM counts here what they're spending. And you can just estimate that across channels using SimilarWeb and do a decent job at that. The other way to do this is this little trick here. You can do, we can do this in my tool too, in title demand, budget, manage a budget of. Sorry. In URL, careers, or in URL, jobs. I guess I should just do this in my tool. Yeah, okay. So you can, let's open another. Sorry, I'm like a little all over the board right now, but I will. Great, let's remove that. And demand, manage a budget of marketing, paid, PPC. Basically what I'm trying to do is figure out, manage a budget, monthly budget. Let's just try budget. I'm trying to figure out if we can see who is actually spending money, and if it says monthly budget meetings. Sometimes it actually says how much money they're spending. Like I can do company, job seniority, director, head. Yes, I'm just actually talk about the budget. In which case, you have a better understanding paid media corresponding budget. So you can figure out the problems that they have here. Sometimes they actually say the budget. It looks like in this case they don't. 40 million a year plus budget. Yeah. And a 40 million a year plus budget at your disposal. So that's interesting that they will say the amount of budget. In this case, the insight here is that generally CMOs that don't come up with a demand gen background feel less comfortable with demand gen and its various and attribution, etc. So in this case, chief marketing. This is my friend Doug, vice president, chief revenue officer. So this guy came up with a product marketing background, right? He understands markets, right? He thinks about ICP and persona all the time. So demand gen is not going to be his foray. And that means that when he comes in as a CMO, he's going to think about this a different way than another CMO. And let's pull my friend Chris. So this guy came up as a brand person, right? So he's brand marketing. So again, you're going to say something different because this guy came up as a brand marketer. So my thought here is that if you define the background, you can say something interesting about how that background relates to demand gen. And you have enough customers to benchmark this if this is true. Then you need to amp up the pain, right? So how many platforms are they running ads on? What percentage of traffic is coming? And sort of say, hey, I know you, I understand you, and like generally you have problems here. I might add one other sentence, which is like, we have seen that people that use tech like you generally can measure top of funnel, but without a CDP like segment, have no way to connect it to their SFDC data. That sound like you? Again, all about them, right? You did your homework. You have some unique customer perspective. You understand their background really well. And then you're only asking a problem-based question. This is all about speeds and feeds. No CMO wakes up in the morning and think, if only I had performance highlight or segmentation mastery. They're only thinking about their problems. And do not send a call to action, a button. Don't send a button in an email. And don't have them download a tool. A CMO is not going to download a tool. If you're going after someone that senior, it's not going to happen. If you want the PLG play, I would go after someone much more demand planner, or someone that actually has this problem day to day and wants to report into the CMO and talk to the CMO about, fancy things. So you can say, like here, hi, demand planner. Doug just joined as your new CMO, but and often new CMOs want to know where their pennies are producing dollars. Can you today tell him where your 7 ad channels are best performing? Want us to run a report you can send to them next week for free that shows how your work has turned into gold, so you get promoted? Promoted by CMO name. So in this case, you're actually going at a much lower level, and you're figuring out why they care about this, why they're having problems, and if this thing is free, that's how you get into the account. So this is a top-down strategy where you're going to have to do a lot more work. You're going to have to send a serious message. These are serious buyers. They get pitched all the time. They are not reading this. Or you can do bottom-up, where these are the people that are in the weeds. They're like, oh, I have no idea. But you need to have a damn insight. Why are people using you today? What, like who has this problem, and what was the who is doing manual pipelines or data entry, and why? What was their stage? What were they using? How do you know who's in this bucket? Real time. Okay, how often are there certain industries where this changes so frequently that you need to know this? Easily segment your campaigns, ad sets, creatives. Who's running a lot of ad sets, a lot of creatives, on a lot of audiences, right? Where there's a lot of segmentation needed, where they could serve a wide variety of people. And let's just look at one example, drift.com. Look at these use cases for marketing, for sales. They have all of these different use cases. Facebook ad library, drift.com. Email drips, not what I want. These are like a bunch of, that's interesting. I want the actual ad library. Yeah, let's actually, United States. All ads. ads. Drift.com. Maybe Drift is not advertising on Facebook. Let's see if Gong is. Okay, this is Gong. So 91 results, right? So you can see how many different ads they are using. Wow, they're using a lot of ads, right? So you can say, hey, you've got 91 ads that have been running since August. So 3 months that you haven't really changed. October. This is actually good, right? You can see they're running a lot of different ads. So you're like, how are you certain that these are going to the right people? And I don't know if they're using metadata or something, but you need to go way deeper. This stuff is not going to cut it. You need to figure out what are the insights that are people that are using you today, and go interview your customers and figure out why they're using your tool. Yeah. So it was like a 16-minute thing that we probably could have had a conversation, and we will, but those are my thoughts ahead of time. Sorry if this was weird. Bye.